So our class really isn't very useful since it's just holding data. It doesn't have any kind of way for us to manipulate that data. It doesn't do anything besides hold data. Really, a class needs to have methods as well. So let's look at how we can create a method and what a method really is in Java. So we had talked a little bit about methods before, and I'm looking at our printer class here. What we had said about methods before is that a method is a way to act on some data or to manipulate that data that's related to the class or related to that data that belongs to that class. So let's do something useful. Let's create a way to print. So a printer should be able to print something, and in this case we're not going to try and print something to paper. We're just going to print out the model number in this example. A lot of printers are able to print out a spec sheet or a configuration page that says what their model number is. Let's create that kind of capability. So I'm going to use this syntax. Again, don't worry about this access modifier yet. We'll cover this a little bit more later, but this just tells you that anyone can call this. And we're going to call our method print, and we're going to specify the return type for this method, which is void. This keyword void basically tells us that when we call this method, there's not going to be any result from this method. It's not going to return back a value. When you create a method, you can also return back a value and then use that value. So a method can be used to perform a calculation. In this case, we're going to create the simple case first, which is basically to just do something. So let's have our method print the model number. So let's call system.out.println, and then let's have it print the model number. Now you'll notice also that I don't have to say printer or my printer or anything model number. Instead, I'm using this class level variable. So from within your class, a method in your class can use any data in that class. So it can just reference model number, and it's going to use whatever we set the model number to. Now you'll notice a problem here, which is what happens if we don't set the model number, and that we're going to cover when we get into constructor, but you're going to see why we're going to need to use a constructor in order to make sure that our class, our object, is in a good state when it gets created. So let's go ahead and try this out and see how this print method would work. So we can go in here, and I'm going to eliminate these lines that we're doing the print, and now we're going to call myprinter.print. Now what's going to happen is we're going to call this method on our object, this print method, and this print method is going to actually do the print line. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. You can see ABCD is printed out. So that's how you can create a method, and a method is definitely going to be useful when creating a class because it allows you to do something with your class.